think we're live, and definitely we're live. Hello, everyone. So we're just making sure that we have all of our social media platforms connected so that we can just, come to you guys and bring you the utmost, um, just access to us and to, what we're sharing this evening. So just give us a few minutes and we'll be starting shortly.
Feel free to comment below any questions or concerns that you guys may have that Sheila can address, or just, expound about her perspective or anything she may know about that. Feel free to comment below. There's a lot that's been going on as always.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to get on my laptop so that I can have yeah, I think I just succeeded. Yeah, I think I just succeeded. Okay. So let me see. Enter the studio. Okay, great. Okay, that's great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect from this one, and you guys just bear with me. Okay, great. So yeah, so thank you guys for your patience. I just wanted to make sure that I came on my computer so the screen could be, as visible as possible. So hello, Jessica.
Hey, how are you, Miss Sheila? I've just been trying to make sure we are connected so that we're able to stream and we're able to share with other people.
Absolutely. So are we connected on Facebook at all?
Yes, ma'am. Facebook, my page, campaign page, your personal page.
Okay, great. So, well, I see no reason why we can't begin.
Yes, ma'am.
And in fact, I think what I'm going to do, I don't know if you got a chance to send the link. Somebody wanted to come on with us for sure.
Mm-hmm. I sent it to her.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that
Miss Towns, I sent it to Stephanie.
Yeah, she reached out today. She definitely wanted to share an update on her situation with housing. So definitely we're here for her in her efforts as she, pushes forward to try to find resolvency for the housing issues that she's currently in. And I know that she's had a week, but before she comes on, I just want to talk a little bit about some major topics that are taking place in the city of Newark. But first, let me just double back and say that this medium is for Newark. This is where you have access, where you have a voice to share what it is that's on your mind, thoughts, feelings, ideas, right? Any concerns, as long as we can be solution orientated as we go forward to solve those concerns. So with that said, I want to go straight into one of the absolute biggest issues I think that we have, and that's the current gubernatorial election. A lot is on the table. Some of you may know President Barack Obama himself came to Newark this past weekend. It was absolutely amazing being able to see him in person. I was absolutely just flabbergasted by the fact that the president, Barack Obama, was in Weequahic Park, okay, in the rain on stage, even after dark. When he first went out, of course, it was daylight, but he talked and engaged the audience for quite some time. And even when it was dark, he was still there. So, I mean, he was just the most down to earth, great personality, just cool, suave, everything that you see on television. He was like that plus some in real life. So just kudos to him. But again, he did come here in hopes to help gubernatorial incumbent, actually, Phil Murphy, get reelected. And I don't know how much of the campaign have you been watchful of, Jessica. Maybe you can tell us some of your thoughts about it. But currently, it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. There was a video release that had Phil Murphy's campaign strategist sharing that they were going to do the vaccine immediately after the election when he won. I don't know how true it is. I think a lot of people was on pins and needles all day to see if he was going to come forward and share some type of light on it, and I didn't see it happen or take place. So we're kind of in limbo, and it looks like, from talking to a lot of people on the grassroots level, that the race has unfortunately come down to, pro-vax, anti-vax. It seems like that's where we are. What are your thoughts on that, Jessica?
It sounds like back in the day when they was trying to separate whites from blacks and to isolate them, like you got this section over here and you got this section over here. It sounds like a repeat in history.
Segregation.
Yes, ma'am. And I really think like you can't force people to take the vaccine. A lot of people have immune system diseases, like lupus and blood diseases where they are fighting daily. And then you ask them to take the vaccine is one thing, but forcing them to take the
Right,
vaccine is another thing. And I
right.
think that is going to attack people with trying to provide for their families or even
Yeah,
themselves. So I
yeah.
think it's just it's programming that's going to bring down the community when the community is still trying to rise.
Absolutely, I agree with you. It's definitely having a huge impact, and I have never in my life seen this urban community literally talk about even the possibility of voting red. But those are the conversations that's being had now, and they're been being had by people who historically haven't been very political. But
Right.
this is, a very important situation we're talking about. People feel, especially because it's entering their body, right? And what happened to my body, my choice. So people are saying, oh, you're gonna kill people, but then unfortunately, rest in peace, Colin Powell just succumbed, also to complications with COVID-19, and he was vaccinated fully. So it kind of took away some of the power to the argument of, get vaccinated and you won't die, and all the other things that they were saying to push it. And really, it comes down to that, unfortunately. And the reason why I say unfortunate is because I know for certain that Phil Murphy has done so many great things for this state, but people are not trying to hear it. People are just, I'm not taking the vaccine. They don't want to know the platform. They're disinterested with whatever else happened. So I'm wishing him well. We're definitely gonna encourage people to go to the polls and vote. And if it's okay, I'm gonna say a little commentary about that really quick.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people feel disenfranchised, they feel disinterested, they feel that their vote doesn't count. And I'm telling you, it is so important to vote. That there is, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again. As per current census status, 300,000 people just right here in the city of Newark, and there's barely 20,000 people showing up to the polls to vote for who's in our administrative offices. And because there are so many concerns that I have, I want to be a part of the solution. I don't want to be a part of the problem. I will share concerns. I will try to help with the solutions, but I feel that it's being that a lot of concerns have fallen on deaf ears. So that's one of the things that motivated me to run. Public safety is a huge part of that. Just the streets. I did read something today, because we've been talking a lot about the streets. I mean, the entire city of Newark, anybody who just works here and are traveling in and out, it has been a huge topic of discussion. So finally, I saw an article today that lend to the fact that the streets should be getting fixed. But what happens too many times is we have politicians who they tend to very important issues when it's election time, and we need these things to be ongoing. We need the departments to be ongoing. We need them to have foreshadowing in terms of the issues that exist. We need them to go to other cities to see what's working, like case in point for the streets. All of the new trucks that they have that everyone sees when you come down 12th Street on
Mm-hmm.
PPW, it would just be too easy in the course of 9 years we're talking about now, right? It would just be too easy to get some of the blacktop get the machine so that we can do some of this stuff in house, so everything doesn't have to go out house. And there's so many other solutions that Newarkers working together can help come up with. And that's why one of the slogans that I often taught is open the door, right? Open the door to inclusion. And this vaccine is just one of the many things that's separating and preventing us from that level of inclusion. And Jessica, it was really funny that you compared it to that. I always like to hear what the younger people think in terms of that. How do you feel about younger people being involved in an election? Is there anything that you would like to share that you think would motivate them?
Listen, I myself, I think the first time, trying to make sure I'm right. I think the first time I ever voted was when Barack was in office.
So
And
many people said that.
and I felt like then that it was something I had to fight for. I
Wow.
did. I felt like it was something I had to fight for. I felt like finally there was somebody I can trust. First of all, I felt like that because when you listen to, our elders and, they tell you, don't trust the government, don't trust. So at that point, I was able to grow up and speak for myself and say, you know what, I'm going to go and fight for our people. And
Right.
I'm not saying that every choice that I made when I did it was right.
Right.
But the next time something rose up in my spirit to fight, it was when I heard your take about the city of Newark. Because my thing is this, even as a youngin, the hard part is finding politicians we can trust.
Right. Right.
That's the hard part. And it's like, you know how they say you can't preach something you haven't been through,
Right.
or do you really know what the people is feeling? Do you and
Absolutely.
everything about Sheila Montague, you out in the streets, you doing this, you with this person, you even with the little kids in the street, making sure they ain't get hit by cars, all this type of stuff. And for me, I felt like there's purpose there, you
Thank
know?
you. Wow, that's awesome.
And I feel that people need to vote. It's like you need to stand for something or fall for anything. You
Absolutely.
cannot feel that you're being mistreated, but you're not fighting for something. And you
Right.
feel like their votes are not going to count. But you got somebody that's like, listen, when Trump hit the office, I'm not saying I'm Trump Trump supporter, blah, blah, blah. But he was arrogant, which means he
Yeah.
didn't care about what people said. He was going to tell you the blatant truth, no matter how ugly it was or even how you felt. He was going to tell you the truth. And I think we need people in the office that's going to tell us the truth. We
Absolutely.
don't trust because we feel like people are not honest.
Right, right. And so in order to get just what Jessica is talking about, because some people feel like, oh, it's not doable. Listen, if you think it, then that's what it's gonna be, right? But if you are hopeful in your thought, right? Because everything starts with a thought. So if you are hopeful in your thought, right? So your thoughts become your words become your actions, and then you want to do something about the things that you are not happy with in your area. And too many times people make a decision, well, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go to Atlanta. I'm going to go to Raleigh, North Carolina, or I'm just going to go somewhere. But wherever you are, right, as a citizen, it's incumbent upon you to be to take part in the electoral process, right? Because in whatever demographic that you're in, you are responsible for whether or not those streets are smooth. You are responsible for the level of education that's being delivered or not delivered, right, in the city in which you live. You are responsible for jobs, policing, air quality, right? All of these things that too many times we take for granted. And as we mature, right, we become more responsible and more diligent in our citizen duties, right? Because that's what they are. And I love what Jessica said because about Barack Obama. So many African Americans, for the first time, honestly felt that this has something to do with me now. They felt like it had nothing to do with me. And I'm going to be honest, a lot of people felt that after the election, that Obama didn't do all that he could have done, right? So some people are still feeling disenchanted with him being in office. But I would say to those people that you need to really consider the progress that we have made as a people. Like Jessica just said, there's so much to think about when you think about progress, when you think about segregation, when you think about the fact that we were not brought here, right, to become the president of the United States. And so many people are excelling in so many different ways. I mean, we have more doctors, lawyers, scientists, nurse, chefs, like you name it. And people are, on board for it. And that's fantastic. And when one group is doing a certain thing, it gives license to other people to do it. And just recently, we have so many people who have come in from different places around the world, right? And one thing that we know about our country is that it's a huge melting pot. So the state of New Jersey is no different. The state of New Jersey is no different. It's a huge melting pot, and I'm going to be very interested to see how this election turns out. I'm actually on the ballot. Jessica, I don't know if you realize that for district leader. I've been a district leader now close to a decade, and we've done a lot of stuff here. We've done people don't realize district leaders don't get paid. We're at the lowest rung of an elected official, but we are elected officials. And to do the job right, and not be compensated, you have to have a passion for people. You have to have a passion to want to really see things come together right. The only thing we're really technically supposed to do, and again, this is just information, is encourage people to vote, right? Register people to vote when they move in from different places. We have Newark is very transient, so people are constantly going and coming. So we want to make sure that everybody is registered to vote. If you needed an address change, that's done. That you are aware. I actually just posted. You guys can find on my page. I'm going to post it also on my elect page. The list of different polling places that you could go to cast your vote, because there's so many new voters. And I just want to just say this, and Jessica, I'm going to let you weigh in a little bit more. So many people feel, I don't like either one of them, so I'm just not going to vote. That is the wrong answer. You must vote, because a non-vote is a vote for somebody else that you probably are less likely. So when they say it's the the best of two evils, or whatever they say, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. You have to really itemize what is working for you and your family. Like, what is your because with me, the vaccine issue is really important, and I think it is for a lot of people. But some people maybe not so much. My issue, Jessica, was the fact that when I listened to the debate, that the challenging gubernatorial candidate, he didn't feel that white children should know the history, the true history of Black people. And he said that he thought that, and I'm summarizing, that would make them uncomfortable. And he didn't think that that was right. And so that type of thinking probably led to the slogan that you've probably heard, "We can't go back with Jack." Right? That's where that came from. So, yeah, that's what everyone's saying. Right? It rhymes, it's catchy. But at the end of the day, that's really what the situation is when you're talking about, you can't go back with Jack. That's the issue. That's the issue. Like, that was a time, right? Even back with Martin Luther King, right? I may not get there with you, but no, we're not going backwards. We're going forward, right? And so yeah, so that's just where we are with that. Jessica, and just one last thing. You can vote if you live in the state of New Jersey and you have a record that you are done with. If you're not on parole, you can vote in the state of New Jersey. And in fact, if you're not already registered, you can look on this page and you will find a link to register to vote. Now, it's too late for you to register to vote in the gubernatorial election, but you will be able to vote in all the upcoming elections, and you need to vote in each and every one, because every issue impacts families, no matter what race or color or creed that you are. So that is that, right? And there's one more piece with okay, is that, and if you don't want to vote for any candidate, you can do a write-in. You could do it right. A lot of people don't know that. You can go literally and write your name at the bottom of the ballot of the machine. And so it's not like you're gonna win unless you campaign and you got like so many thousands of people to vote for you. But the point is this: you're calculated as a person that votes, and while you may not dictate who the president is or who the governor is by your lone self, those numbers help our leadership negotiate different things that we need in our community. So if we could say, for example, hey, Jessica, we want you to bring this program to Newark that's going to be great for our kids. Jessica wants to know, as a politician, what's in it for her. So if I tell Jessica, hey, I got 200,000 people waiting to vote to help you get reelected. Oh, Jessica's going to make sure that whatever the ask is, that it's going to be delivered and received. But when people are turning out to vote in very dismal numbers, it doesn't give us the power to negotiate to get the things that we need, for our community. And with that being said, Jessica, what do you think about any of that at all?
I think I have one perspective, and I think it covers all grounds in what you just spoke about. But I think that what you cannot do is take the option away from the people. And
Yeah.
that goes back to Jack. That goes back to a lot of things about truth and everything. Do not take the option away from the people. Give the people the option to stand up for themselves, to speak for themselves, their family, to provide, to contribute, their concerns, their voice. Everybody has a voice, and I think that if you take it, okay, for that instance, going back to Jack, if you take it from them to know the history of the people, then where that child is going to understand and feel the place to be in the world, because you're going to come into some areas where you gotta intertwine with Black people, whether it's at work, wherever, and some people have not completely healed from that, and they can be a part of the healing if they know the history. It's all about how you treat a person, how you honor a person, respect that person, and then they would change their perspective and say, you know what, well, at least this person, they not like, what I heard about in history. But if you take the option from that person to know about the history, then they are lost. They won't know why this person doesn't like them. And I'm not saying every Black person is like that. No, but you got some people that has not yet healed. Just like you got some white people that hasn't healed from what they family did when they was, So
Absolutely.
you do not take the option away from the person, whether it's in politics, whether it's in history, in the schools. Don't take the option away from the person, because the person has a right to stand up for what they believe, and they need to know. Them not knowing is leaving them lost,
Absolutely.
out of the circle, out of knowing, and that
Right.
hurts more than anything.
Absolutely. And on that topic of healing, I just want to add that October is in fact domestic violence recognition month. And I just want to say to that a lot of people are under the impression, right? The very misguided impression that domestic violence is, it's like a guy with a wife beater on, a tank top, with a bottle of whiskey and he's slugging, the woman, right? And just to make a little light of a very heavy and serious situation, though. But domestic violence is not just that, right? So domestic violence is your partner putting you down, right? Making you feel bad. Um,
Emotion.
Emotional trauma, abandonment, not being there for you. Somebody was just talking about in one of the groups I was in, how the family courts are not on the side of families. So, right, it's the parental alienation as it refers to kids. People saying that, okay, well, we're not together anymore, so one parent is going to be the deciding factor on whether or not that child is able to see their other parent again. So finances, right? That's another issue. Withholding the finances if one parent, or one person and one partner has the money and the other one doesn't. All of those things, right, are registered as acts of domestic violence, and they can hurt just as much or even more than physical abuse. And these are some things that we really need to deal with in our community. There was a uptick in domestic violence during COVID, right? And I don't know if that was really ever addressed. And there was a lot of things that wasn't addressed, right? Even with the kids coming back to school, there's been so many complaints of kids fighting and just really unruly. They were in a house for like over a year.
Yeah. Yep.
And and it was expected, right, for young people to go back to school, even for the adults, go back to work. We're going to act like this never happened. You're going to do your schoolwork, you're going to sit down, you're going to things will never be the same again. And there has to be some type of consideration given to that, to all parties, not just the kids, but women, right? Families. And that's what that domestic violence is about, right? So the violence can happen in the home, but the violence can also take place in the workplace. So these are some things that are really, really important, and there are a ton of things that are really, really important. But we can't tell it all in a night. We want to keep our show to around 30 minutes. And again, just to say that this show is just for access, to give people in our community an opportunity to share the platform, share their concerns, and let's together, work on solutions. And for you to know that you're not alone. I'm here. Jessica is here, and together, we create a powerful team, right? Team Newark. So with that being said, I just want to invite you before we log off that on Saturday from 10 to 12 p.m., right in front of Ivy Street School, located in Upper Vellsburg. Right on that corner, we're gonna meet up and we're gonna walk the community. We're gonna introduce ourselves to them. We're gonna assess what issues that they may have, or what concerns or whatever that may exist, that we can all work together to find some solutions to. I do realize that last evening there was a State of the City address. Honestly, I didn't view it. Living on a number street, I kind of know what the state of the city is more than anyone. And it's a lot of hurt and pain, right? So we're not just dealing with COVID, in the pandemic. We're also dealing with homicide, that pandemic in our community. And myself, I've lost some really good friends to both, right? COVID and the pandemic of COVID-19 and the pandemic of homicides that's occurring way too frequently. You guys might have heard somebody dressed up like police officers did a home invasion, right? Put the gun to the wife's head. There was another situation where a 9-year-old was shot. So I just wasn't in the mood to really hear the positive things that are going on, because I get the power of positivity. I do. And I actually subscribe to it. But I think that until we really acknowledge that we have some really severe things going on, that's going to be the only time that we start to engage and work together, to come up with really tangible strategies at solving those issues. Because what doesn't get acknowledged, it doesn't get resolved. And Jessica, I don't know if you have something to add before we close out.
I just encourage you all, comment at the bottom. It doesn't matter whether the live is over. Comment at the bottom your concerns, your thoughts, the things that make you angry, things that happen to you, just so you can get it off your chest and begin to heal. And like she said, we can find a beautiful resolve. You now have somebody that is fighting to be in the office to make a difference. I mean, I've never known nobody, I never trusted nobody that was going to walk up in housing authority and say, hey, show me this and show me that. That was going to be in the school boards and say, hey, we need to really make a better curriculum for these kids. We need to hold people accountable, and etc. I've never, ever heard about people that really meant what they said and said what they meant. And so I just say we need to vote. We really need to vote. I mean, you can Google Miss Sheila, Google her resume, because as her coordinator, I had to Google her to find some things, about her history, to bring to the light for you guys. Do it. Do it. She's been in this rink for Newark to be healed and better for a very, very long time. And she means what she says.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for that. Thank you so much. Listen, Lafi Shakur says, He glossed over the violence, and his main focus was COVID and developing gentrification. Wow, developing gentrification. Wow.
Wow.
And so, you know,
He glossed over the violence. His main focus was COVID. So she's saying he glossed over it, he shined it up.
yeah.
And so he's not really addressing it.
Yeah, and so like I said, we want to the violence is ugly, right? And what makes it really ugly is the fact that we're still on the cusp of Black Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying? And they matter. When cops are killing us, and they matter when we're having violence in our communities, and this is it's a big deal, but it's very hard to deal with because when you know the history of how all of this came about, the same people who look at us and say y'all need to care about that. No, we were put in this situation. This situation was constructed. It was strategically constructed, and it was made with the intent of
Mhm.
us imploding in this way, right?
Yes.
By taking away our resources and killing our leaders in front of our faces. And again, all of that trauma that never got healed, Jessica, just like what you were saying earlier, these things were never resolved. The Black community has never had a time when it had a real true opportunity to heal. And so we act like everything is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Act like everything is okay. Even when people are depressed, you see now more than ever people telling us, I'm depressed, I'm depressed. And people are like, oh, ain't nothing wrong with you, you're okay, because that's how we've learned to get along. But no, you need to understand for that. And I want to say that in closing. You need to really understand that when a person will fake to be okay, people don't fake depression. So when somebody comes to you with that, you gotta take it seriously. Now I'm gonna read this last comment I see, Jessica. It says he said that crime is down 50%. Shaking my head. You know what? I'm not even gonna comment on it because I think that what's understood doesn't need to be explained.
Yeah.
We as a city, right, are gonna push forward. I am running for mayor of the city of Newark. And if you care about the city as much as I do, I will just add to say, join me this Saturday. It's only from 10 to 12 for a few short hours of just walking on a few blocks, introducing ourselves, saying hello. And instead of complaining, right? But that's what this show is about, concern. So you can bring your complaints. I'm not saying that. But we're also about solutions. And this is a solution. When you have local government, state government, national government, it doesn't matter what the government is. If they are not doing the jobs that we deem that they should do, we the people have the right to not vote them back in office. We the people have the power. All we got to do is utilize it. Listen, thank you for everybody for joining us. Thank you for your support and the love that you've given me. Jessica, thank you for always being a part of change in a positive way in our city. And let's
Oh,
continue to push Newark forward. Thank you, everyone.